Yeah, welcome back to my haunted palace. As you may see, I have been taken to a mad scientist's laboratory and I got genetically discombobulated. Yes, I am a cat girl. This is this is a low point for sure. well, well, well. I have lost sight of my tale book. Yes, I found my book of tales, my book of his book of shadows. Like is that like okay to say? Right. Today we will be reading to you the haunting tale of Jeff the Killer versus the Rake. These two icons of the best horror fiction, the best literature in the horror genre. Jeff the Killer, yes, his insanity, they say, is over everything. Yeah. Uh, you must forgive me. I have been my the scientists' secret potions have given me the brain of a cat girl, and it's just so hard to find all the latest creepy pasta. But let us begin. Jeff the Killer versus the Rake. And this story starts wonderfully. The tension begins from sentence 1. Note, I did not create this pasta, and I am in no way taking credit for writing it. I am just passing it on. I'm not saying this, it is the author of this tale. Jeff the Killer versus the Rake. Go to sleep. I was on my way to Harvard University with my girlfriend, Kate. We were driving in the 12 Mustang my dad bought before he was murdered. You see, I was a farm boy from Kansas. Me and my dad would always set scarecrows in the field, yeah, where we worked most of the year. My brother and I fought about who would set the scarecrow for Halloween that year. 1997. About half a mile away from the farmhouse. I was chosen by father to set it up. I carried the shitty little crow. Yeah. Through the field to an empty post. I climbed up with the scarecrows on my back and readied to fix the crow under the post. Just done with one hook. Some thing pulled from the post into the grass. I went down screaming as that thing ripped the scarecrow apart. I was struggling to get the damned thing off my back as that animal. That is. God, that was bad. No. Oh, there's. I must walk such a fine line between being humorously embarrassing and just being genuinely embarrassing. uh, you will not know the difference by the end of our tale, I am sure. That animal was pulling as hard as it could. I finally slipped the scarecrow, still screaming for my father. I could hear him yelling for me. I looked back and saw it. A man. Why did I? A man hunched over with talons in place of fingernails. He appeared to be a starving old man who looked to be over 100 years old. I am much, much older. He, sorry, it. I also use those pronouns. Yes. Charged me as I looked into its black sockets for eyes. Dad showed Dad showed with his sawed-off shotgun. Pacemaker? It is named Pacemaker because it goes into your heart like much like a pacemaker. But it was too fast for him. One of its talons pierced his chest, while Pacemaker's bullet pierced the old man's chest. Oh, Gilf-centric story for all my Gilf lovers. Both fell to the ground dead, or so I thought. When the police, ACAB, arrived, they didn't find that man's body, nor did they find any corpse at the crime's scene. All they found was Pacemaker, which the police gave to me, and a sentence. It was a threat left by the old man. Old man. Your father killed me. Now I'm going to kill you. Anyway, we decided to stop in Ohio overnight at a motel. It was crappy, but we didn't care. We didn't care. The clerk smelled like diarrhea and alcohol. We were in love. Immediately, we jumped in bed and started to kiss. We embraced what little time we had at the motel, the meowtel. I have to take a shower. I'll be right back. She walked into the bathroom. I fell back on the bed, thinking about what we would do together. I pulled out a innocent-looking box, opened it, and looked at the treasure that I would have presented to her. A beautiful ring, topped off with 2 polished pearls. Marriage would have been the best thing for us if Jeff didn't come along. It would have been different somehow. He snuck through the bathroom window. I jumped up from bed when I heard Kate screaming. wasn't terror. No, it was pain and suffering. I slowly put my ear to the bathroom door and heard, "Go to sleep." I have just they've never canonically said what Jeff the Killer sounds like. That could be. That's what he sounded like to me. And well, you are in my haunted palace now. I heard the knife plunge into Kate's body several times. The shower kept going. Her screaming stopped. I heard the mirror shatter. Then the intruder rushed towards the door, punching a hole through. He kept punching down the door, ripping it apart, trying to reach me. That's when he stopped and looked at me. I saw his face. A creepy ass expression. The killer had these dark little eyes with large dark circles around them. Much like mine. He wore this impossibly large smile on his face. Then he continued destroying the door down until there wasn't any more door left to destroy. His eyes flashed down to mine, and he slowly walked towards me. I slowly backed up until my back met with the wall. The maniac stopped for a few seconds, then leaped on top of me with his knife aimed at my heart. "Go to!" I had pacemaker out and aimed the killer's testicles. I'm going to blow your balls all over this room. Now get the fuck off me. He listened and got away me. Now drop the knife. The evil bastard stood there with his mouth open. Die! 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 He shouted. The killer leaped towards his knife. I aimed and I fired. He had snatched his knife up and flung it towards my head. I deflected it and I fired again. He ducked, then he tackled me out of the first-story window, landing on the pavement. I bruised my heel while he twisted his kneecap. Yeah. It's not easy to show my kneecap from this angle, you know. You have to appreciate me. I writhed in pain. Ouch. Or who is fucking saying this? I'm gonna say, ouch. Well, what are you? I looked back up onto my first-story room, past the man I know as Jeff the Killer, and saw that old man from 15 years ago. I failed to contain a scream which woke up the tenant. He came out with a Glock in his drawers and covered with a hotel bathrobe. What the hell is going on here? I'm trying to sleep. Just as soon as he finished ranting, the old man did something impossible. He jumped off the first-story floor, landed upon his feet, looked toward the tenant, and pounced on the top of him. I saw the way that thing dug into his flesh. Shots fired. The screaming ceased. Then I remembered the warning. Your father killed me. Now I'm going to kill you. When he was done tearing apart the piece of meat that was the tenant, he faced me. Jeff barked, "Uh-uh! I saw him first, you freak!" The old man slowly turned to face Jeff. "Yeah, I'm talking to you. What are you gonna do about it?" Sorry, I misread it. He actually said, "What are you going to about it?" The creature charged Jeff in an instant, started slashing at his chest. Jeff kept swinging his knife at it, but that thing didn't care. It knew he couldn't reel it. The monster was too fast for Jeff. "Hold still!" Jeff was getting pissed off. His swings were getting faster, but even the greatest killer makes mistakes. The old man finally got a sufficient hit in and went for a gut blow to Jeff's stomach. The killer dropped to the ground. "Well, hit me! Come on, hit me!" "Okay." And it turns out that actually you thought it was Jeff the Killer, but in truth, the whole time it had actually been the Joker from DC comic books. I have deceived you. I fired pacemaker at the old man. It instantly dropped to the ground. I couldn't believe it. I finally killed that old bastard. I really did it. I then walked over to Jeff. He had internal bleeding, but it wasn't serious. I kneeled over Jeff. The sick fuck was still smiling at me. Well, or wait, no, who's saying that? "Well, you got me, kid. Are you gonna finish me?" "Nope, I won't." I knocked Jeff out with the butt of pacemaker. He wouldn't trouble me anymore. But I know he would just get madder and kill me, so I didn't. Then the old man attacked Jeff, throwing him through a wall. Jeff's knife was right next to me, and the old man was going toward me. I grabbed it, and he jumped, so I stabbed it. It didn't even flinch. Then, right when I thought it was all over, I saw Jeff walk out and grab the peacemaker. The old man heard him and started to run toward him. When it was close to him, Jeff let off a shot and hit the thing right in the head. It being scared, it ran off. Jeff ran after it. I heard the whole thing. Jeff said, "Shh, it's time to go to sleep." Then let off some more shots until the thing was into. Jeff picked up his knife and started walking to me. He said with an evil smile on his face and said, "Now, no, wasn't that fun?" and just walked away. I didn't question it. He spared my life. Maybe because he spared his. I don't know. But I never saw him after that day. That was the tale of Jeff the Killer versus the Rake. What if Jeff the Killer fought the Rake? Are you not frightened? Are you not disturbed? Do not worry. The haunted palace, within the walls of the haunted palace, Nothing can reach you but me. But do not worry. You have nothing to fear from me. Good story. All around. If you would like me to read any if you would like me to read any story yours, you may simply say it, for there are many tales in the tale book, and I like and subscribe if you want to escape the walls of my haunted palace.